Your standard question reads as, it's a chain of sale, purchase, sale, purchase. A sells an article to B at 20% profit. B sells it to C at 25% profit. If the cost for A was 144 rupees, what did C pay for it? It's a simple one. So the cost for A is given to us as 144. So this question is easy because the cost is given. Compare it with the second question that we will do here. Now this has been sold at 20% profit to B. So B, the whatever B pays, this will be the selling price for A, will be the cost price for B. Now B sells it further at 25% profit. So 25% profit he will find on his cost price. It has costed B these many rupees. So of that, and this is what will be the selling price for B, cost price for C for the third person, right? So this situation is same as successive percentage increases, and the question is asked is how much does C pay for it, right? That is why I said there's very little that is new that we'll be learning here, as long as you don't use the textbook formula for profit percentage. So it's a straight percentage, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it off with multiplying factors. 144, 20% is nothing but 6 by 5, 1 plus 1 by 5. I don't need to calculate this. The question nowhere asks me what did B pay for it, right? So why unnecessarily add my this calculation? Anyway, this is not a nice fraction number, right? It's a fraction. And continued, a 25% further increase, 1/4 increase. So 1 plus 1/4, that is 5 by 4. So the 5 cancels out. This is a 2, this is a 3. So 2 will cancel out this at 72. 72 into 3, 216 is the answer, right? Using, how could I use it ratios? Yes, you could use the ratio. 20% increase means the numbers are in the ratio 5:6. 25% increase, second and third number are in the ratio 4:5. And the two of them together, I want the first and the third relation. So let's take this as 12. The multiple, common multiple of 6 and 4. 6 has become 12, so 5 will become 10. 4 has become 12, 4 3s are 12, 5 3s are 15. The question is, all these are ratios. The question is asking me only about the first to third, which is nothing but a ratio of 2:3. 2 parts is 144 rupees, that is 72 into 2. 3 parts will be 216 rupees, right? Whichever way we want, I guess the multiplying factor here is going to be a little more convenient, right? Depends upon your expertise as such, right? Same question, but this time I don't have the starting number. That is where you will appreciate this approach more. Here you could have done in a piecemeal, 20% of this, find this value, 25% of this value. You could have done it in piecemeal approach. But look at the second question here. A manufacturer sells it to a dealer at 12.5% profit. The dealer sells it to retailer at 16.66% profit. If the customer, end user, has paid 210 rupees, what is the cost price for the manufacturer? So it's identical out over here. The only difference is I do not know the cost price. I do not know what to begin with. Yes, there is a 12.5% increase first. This is the dealer, cost price for the dealer. He sells it further at a profit of 16.66%, right? And this is what the customer pays. Now, what is given to me is the customer has paid 210 rupees and I have asked the cost for manufacture. I cannot take 16.66% of 210. We have learned that it is a percentage of the cost. This is a percentage of this, right? So those who are doing it in a piecemeal approach find it struggling to start because I don't have a start. But if you are comfortable with multiplying factor, let this be x, 12.5, 1/8 increase, that is 9 by 8. 1/6 increase, 1 plus 1/6 is 7 by 6, and this value is given as 210. I want to find x. So there's nothing left here as such, right? To just wind it up, 3 2s are, 3 3s are, 7 3s are 21, will cancel out this. 8 2s are 16, so x is 160, right? On to the next standard question. Another standard question is the cost price of 12 articles is equal to the selling price of 10 articles. So something about cost and selling price is given. So obviously the question is going to be find profit percentage, right? Again, please understand 12 and 10 are not the rupees, not the cost price of one article. They are talking about the number of articles in that sense, right? And that has been the theme throughout, right? Two of them have to be given, third has to be asked. So how do they make it difficult? They give the data in a roundabout manner, right? A Quite a few intelligent people make a very glaring error here. That let me just talk about that before I solve this. Say I spent some money in purchasing 12 articles. That same money I have recovered on selling 10 articles. Right? So I've recovered my money. Now how much am I left with? I'm left with 2 articles, right? I'm left with 2 articles yet to be sold. So should I say that this is the profit that I have, this is the profit that I have, right? And on what base, on what is my investment? My investment is of 10 articles. They get the answer as 1 by the articles is 12 articles, 1 by 6, that is going to be 16.66%. It sounds very convincing and also looks at a very simple, oh, there's hardly anything to do, but this is wrong, students, right? The profit that you're getting is going to be the selling price of the 12 articles, 2 articles. The extra 2 when you sell, I get that amount, right? Whereas your investment is the cost price of the 12. Yeah, you can't just cancel this 2 and this, right? So this part is going to be wrong out over here, right? So watch out for such errors. Though there is a easy way, but we'll keep it for some other time, other session. So let's just go ahead in the traditional way. What does this mean like? So in a simple sense, they are equal. So what I can do is, let's say they are equal to X. Let's assume this. So cost price of 12 articles is X. So the cost price of one article will be X by 12. So I am writing for one article. Selling price of 10 articles is X. So the selling price, let me write it also here. So for one article. So the selling price of one article is going to be X by 10. That's it. I have the cost price, the selling price. All I need to do is just take the ratio. And the ratio, the X doesn't matter. The ratio is 5:6. And so 5:6, cost price is my base. So this refers to an increase of 1 by 5. That is a 20% profit, right? Which is not 16.66 as seen earlier, right? So a simple one done. We can spend some more time out over here. X is immaterial, X doesn't matter, right? So why even use an X? Let me just use a number which makes my calculation easier. 10 and 12, I need to divide this number by 10 and 12. So let me take it as a multiple of 10 and 12 itself. Forget LCM, let me take 10 and 12 itself out over here. So tell me, cost price 12 article is 12 into 10. So what is the cost price of one article? So the cost price of one article becomes rupees 10. Selling price of 10 article is 12 into 10 divided by 10. So the selling price of one article is rupees 12. So what do you see? If you look at it, I don't want to disturb this. The cost price of 12 is equal to selling price of 10. These are articles, mind you. Because of this uh, assumption that we made, what happens is the cost price of one article becomes rupees 10, and the selling price of one article becomes rupees 12. So I could have just imagined this. I purchased at what price? 10 rupees. So I bought it at 10 rupees. I'm selling it at 12. So what's my profit? 2 rupees on a base of 10. That is 1 by 5. You could do it, right? Though all of this looks interesting, what we need to understand and simple thing is, can I not write this as 12 into the cost price of one article is equal to 10 into the selling price of one article? So what this is talking, this is giving you directly the ratio is 10 by 12. That's it. This directly is talking about the ratio of cost price and selling price is 10:12. I don't even have to use any assumption or so on, but we are not tuned to think that this data is nothing but a ratio of cost price, selling price. Therefore, it's very important to keep thinking in terms of ratios, students, right? Things become very, very easy. You want to think about the multiplying factor. What is the multiplying factor related to profit? Nothing but the selling price by cost price. Selling price by cost price 10 by 12. From 10 you go to 12. That's it. So this is the answer, right? So it seems, for beginners, it seems like it's a tricky question. One might make a lot of errors or so on. But eventually, if you know how to look at it, it's a very simple one. So I'll give one more question for you to practice on the same line, on the same pattern. In fact, this question was done earlier as well. So I buy at the rate of 30 articles in a rupee. How many to sell? How many to sell in a rupee to gain 20%? So let's look at it. Is the purchase also I am buying in 1 rupee, selling price also I am buying in 1 rupee. So could I say, so let's say X per rupee. So could I say the cost price of 30 articles, can I say is equal to the selling price of X articles? Why? Both of them are in a rupee. Right? And this data we have just now seen is as simple as 30 times the cost price of one article, X times the selling price of one article. So the cost price to selling price is nothing but X by 30. And a gain of 20% tells me that the cost price to selling price is nothing but 5:6. Right? So this ratio is 5 and 6. 6 5s are, so X is 25 as done earlier. Right? So it just requires you to think in lines of a ratio or so on, right? Next standard question. The next question reads as, on buying and selling 20 meters of cloth, a cloth merchant made a profit equal to selling price of 4 meters. What is his profit percentage? The point here to notice that the data given is about a profit in amounts. Why? Because it is selling price of 4 meters. The question is also asking you profit percentage, right? So one just needed to realize here that instead of profit percentage, data is about the actual amount of profit, that is selling price minus cost price. So one could go the traditional way. Could I say the profit is nothing but selling price minus cost price? But selling price minus cost price of what? Of 20 meters, because that is when he earned a profit of selling price of. So 20 times the selling price of 1 minus 20 times the cost price of 1 meter, this is his profit, and this profit is given to me as selling price of 4 meters. Right? So selling price of 1 meter into 4. Now I just need to rearrange this. The 4 comes here, so this is going to be 16 times the selling price of 1 meter is 20 times the cost price of 1 meter. This is like a previous question. Cost price of 20 articles is equal to selling price of 16 articles, right? Anyways, we know the ratio is given directly in such a data. So selling price by cost price is 20 by 16, which is nothing but 4 5s are 5 by 4, that is nothing but a 25% profit. So this should be as straight as it is. You could also look at it in a sense of, if I want to go in the traditional way, let me start with the cost price. The cost price of how many? The cost price of 20 meters. Right? This changes to what? To the selling price. But now I am dealing with 20 meters. And I know in this 20 meters, because of this, there's a profit, the amount of profit, which is equal to selling price of 4 meters. So if you look at this, the selling price appears two places, right? So it would be a good idea to assume the selling price. Let the selling price of 1 meter be X rupees. So the selling price of 20 meters will be 20X. Oh, so this is going to be equal to 4X. So 20X is the selling price, 4X is the profit in amount. So going backwards, I just subtract, the cost price will be 20X. How do I find the profit percentage? 4x as a percentage of the cost, which is nothing but 1 by 4, 25%. So two simple ways, straightforward ways. I'm also going to take opportunity of this question to explain one more concept called margin percentage, and with that we'll end the lecture. The concept of margin percentage. We know that cost price changes to selling price. The difference is the profit. This profit, when expressed as a fraction of cost price, is nothing but my profit percentage. We are aware of this, so there's nothing new out of here, right? The new is this profit can be expressed as a fraction of the selling price as well. Nothing stops me. I will start calculating it that way. But then it is not called profit percentage, it is called margin percentage. It's expressed in a percentage, so percentage. Now, what's the use of this? Why do we get one more term in? If you actually look at balance sheets or companies' financial data in newspapers, what will typically be given, let's say of an Infosys company, the sales of Infosys in the quarter was so many and its profit was some value. So the sales and the profit. So the company, the primary characteristics in a financial of a company is the sales. No one worries about what is the cost of Infosys. No one looks at that data as keenly as the sales. So I have the sales and I have the profit. So rather than do this whole work finding the cost, we express profit as a percentage of sales. And if you're a commerce student, you know terms like operating profit margin, net profit margin. Why do we use margin? Because all these profits are expressed as a percentage of sales. I hope you have got that, right? Now, what is interesting is, if we know profit and margin percentage are tied up, right? If you know profit percentage, you know margin percentage. If you know margin, you know profit. How is that? So, let's take an example. Let's say the profit is 10%. So this is a 10% of what? Of the cost price. It is understood of the cost price. So I take cost price and selling price, the ratio is 10 is to 11. But now when I look at margin percentage, for margin percentage, my base is nothing but the selling price. So this becomes my base. So could I say this profit of 1 as a part of 11, which is nothing but 9.090909% is my margin. If I'm making some profit, obviously the selling price is going to be more. The profit is same. So my margin percentage will be numerically less than the profit percentage. Let's do the reverse way. Let's say I know my margin percentage. My margin percentage is 12.5%. 12.5% of what? Of the selling price. So my base is the selling price now. So 1/8 of selling price. So I will start with the selling price. If the selling price was 8, and then I will go backwards and I'll say if the selling price was 8, the profit was 1/8 of 8, that is 1. So moving backwards, the cost price is 7. And now to calculate my profit percentage, the 1 has to be expressed as a percentage of cost price, which is 1 by 7, 14.28% is my profit. Right? Again, numerically, margin will be less than cost price, provided there's a profit involved, right? So why did we get this margin into? One, it's not very popular in exams, but occasionally, very rarely, the word margin pops up. And if you're not paying careful attention, we are going to miss it out as a profit percentage and go wrong with our calculations. Anyway, coming back to our question, the question why did we introduce margin here is, my profit in the question is the profit percentage is nothing but the selling price of 4 meters. The profit is selling price of 4 meters, right? Divided by my cost. What was my cost? My cost is going to be cost price of 20 meters. Right? This is what I purchased. Now I can't find this ratio because one is a selling price, one is a cost price. So what I can do is, instead of profit percentage, could I work in margin percentage? And if I work in margin percentage, I need to take the selling price of 20 meters. Now the selling price of 4 meters and selling price of 20 meters is going to be in the ratio 1 by 5. So the margin percentage or the margin fraction is 1 by 5. So I'll start with the selling price 5. Oh, and go backwards to the cost price. Margin is 1. So the cost price would have been 4. And now come forward, profit percentage is nothing but 1 by 4, 25%. Same as we got earlier. So we have used the example to learn a new concept called margin percentage.